I will invite down Summer Brown from DePaul University to share with you more information about the Benefit Corporation Gateway. And so, I don't know if Scott is joining you?
No.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I'll hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you. Good morning. As Jessica stated, my name is Summer Brown, and I'm the Executive Director of the Institute for Business and Professional Ethics. I wanted to tell you quickly a little bit about DePaul before explaining kind of why we got into this space. So DePaul University was founded by a Vincentian priest, St. Vincent de Paul, and his mission was to serve the poor. And so DePaul really incorporates that mission and tries to bring it into anything that's happening at the university. So at the institute itself, we have four major constituencies that we care about: students, faculty, the business community, so we have a lot of connections into the business community, and just generally what we call our community, our global community. And myself and my colleague, the Wicklander Chair in Business Ethics, who's not here, her name is Daryl Kane, she and I were sitting down and kind of looking at new areas in ethics that we thought we could provide some value. And we saw this idea of benefit corporations. And to be honest with you, as Joe Sprangle, or I'm sorry, Joe, as Bart was mentioning yesterday, it's a little bit confusing. I'm an attorney, and so I come from a legal perspective, and I was confused about what's the legislative angle to this, what's B Corp, and what are all of these terms that are kind of being thrown around. And so we were trying to look around and see whether there was existing resources in this space, and there are a few, but it was mostly based on what B-Lab had created, which, as that might make sense, they were focused on B Corps rather than benefit corporations themselves. And so we thought, well, maybe there's a need for some clarity, and maybe there's a need for maybe an academic space that's a little bit maybe what we call kind of a fair broker or objective, and that doesn't just focus on B Corp itself, that also focuses on maybe other assessment tools and mostly kind of the legal perspective of what's happening at the state level in the United States, and what are the differences between those legislative perspectives. So we kind of started getting into this, and what we initially wanted to do was just sort of create what we call an online portal. An online portal would simply kind of be a place where we could coalesce resources. It wasn't going to be super dynamic and interactive, but as we were looking into the space and we were seeing what's out there, we thought, well, maybe we could add a little bit of a little bit more interactive stuff, or a little bit more of a platform for you all. And by the way, I've learned so much in the last day about all of the work you're doing, and I'm kind of really excited and amped up about what we could work on together collaboratively. But what we think of as our audience is, like I said, researchers and entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs in the student space. So what we learned is, as actually Bart mentioned yesterday, is there's not a whole lot of recognition of this idea in students and even in faculty who teach in like entrepreneurship space. We were going around kind of talking about it and, hey, what do you know about this? And we kept getting these blank stares. And so we thought, okay, well, let's sort of begin at the beginning, if that makes sense. And so we thought, all right, how can we bring a little bit more value? And so we have these two, it's a little bit, I don't want to go off the slides on here because I'm afraid something's going to go wrong. But this is a little bit of the landing page for the gateway. It's benefitcorporationgateway.org. And if you'll see, it's a little hard to see, but there's two big buttons, researchers and entrepreneurs. And you'll kind of click on one of those, and we provide different resources. The researcher side, we have done, as as much as we can in scouring all of the academic journals and databases and looking for articles in this space. And then we organize them into major categories for you all. I can tell you in the last day, we have been frantically making sure that if any of you have published something, we have it on there so that we're, we don't look stupid. But we have that. We've also been creating blogs. We stay on top of kind of the current events. We do interviews with B Corp founders. Just the other day, I interviewed the CEO of Clerky. Bart mentioned them yesterday. Clerky has signed on to sort of their service that provides legal documents to companies that just want to get our startups. And they have signed on to provide the legal documents to people who want to start benefit corporations in Delaware. And if you don't know, in the United States, Delaware is where most corporations incorporate. And so, we think this idea is really taking off here. And so that's kind of what we're trying to offer at that space. Now, we think there's an opportunity here to add this educators, this is a better picture of it, to add this educators button. And what we think could happen there is we have been creating several mini cases, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But also we have done we're starting to think about it like a video series, case studies. I was in the group 4 yesterday talking about where this community can go and how it can move forward. And we were talking about how we need an academic space to do that. And so maybe this could be one of those academic spaces. And we, here's a couple of the thoughts that we were thinking about. In terms of the Benefit Corporation Guide, what we're talking about there is like 101, okay? A lot of what you guys have been talking about and where you're at with this idea is, a little bit higher up the chain in terms of understanding. And we're talking about what would an 18-year-old in a classroom really know. And I teach business law courses, and I teach about corporate law and LLCs and LLPs, and I actually include benefit corporations as a subtopic. And so having sort of materials for syllabus or for teaching are, is really helpful, and this could be a space to kind of share that. All right, I want to talk a little bit about another kind of side project, but is very much a part of this gateway. We created something called the DePaul mini cases. And what we've realized is that a lot of case studies are geared towards MBA students or graduate level students. And a lot of those cases are also very high level about dilemmas that come up in maybe the executive level or the C-suite level. And so we created these mini cases that are 1-2 pages long, max. They're targeted to undergrad audiences. They are meant to address issues that would come up early in a career. And as it relates to what we're doing here, we created a whole series on benefit corporations. And we add a lot of law into that. I know maybe that doesn't work globally for some of you, but in the United States, it's helpful for people teaching these topics. And this is just sort of what the site looks like, combined cases. And by the way, I'm going to pass out a little card, and you can download some of the cases for free if you'd like. And we'd love to have your feedback on this, whether you think these cases would be useful, whether they have value, whether we're missing something. That would be great. The last thing that we offer as a curricular advantage is that our institute runs an academic journal called the Business and Professional Ethics Journal in the business ethics space. But last year, we decided to publish 2 special issues on benefit corporations. The special issues editor was David Steingard. I don't know if some of you know him from St. Joseph's University. And we had interviews with Jay Cohen, the other co-founder of B Lab. We had interviews with several big B Corp companies, but we also had several academic articles that were struggling to find a space to, publish their work. And so what we think we could do is perhaps be a place for this topic. Our group yesterday was talking about how there's journals, or there's not a good space to put this kind of academic work. And so we were thinking, well, maybe, we host an issue a year on this topic. And we include under the professional ethics umbrella a lot of things. So, if you're from whatever discipline, this might be a place to put those things. And so this is also another element that we integrate into our gateway that we think could be helpful to you. That's about it. I just want to emphasize that we're definitely not at the level of, B Lab in terms of their notoriety. We're not at the level of Academia Bay, but we want to be in terms of helping the academic world. And we want this to serve as a platform for you guys to help us and for us to help you. So that's it. I will pass these out. Thank you.